The following is a presentation of the Matt Talk Podcast Network. It's time for Inside Virginia Tech Wrestling. We'll talk all things Hokie wrestling with Coach Tony Roby and staff. Now, let's join your host, Hall of Fame wrestling writer and broadcaster, Jason Bryant.
And another episode of Inside Virginia Tech Wrestling. Jason Bryant back here with you with the head wrestling coach of your Virginia Tech Hokies, Tony Roby, coming off a weekend trip to your old stomping grounds up there in Pittsburgh, and then your alma mater at Edinboro. Picked up 2 victories, but before we talk about the weekend, we'll talk about the Virginia Duels, and then we got events coming up here in Cassell in the coming weekend. But first is first. I mean, the weather out there, I understand, is delightful this time of year.
Yeah, we've had a nice little warm-up here, a nice sunny day here in Blacksburg. I think it's supposed to be nice again this weekend, so we're gonna enjoy it while it lasts. I'm sure we'll have another cold spell blowing in here shortly, but we typically get some warm-ups this time of year, so it's nice. Yeah, we were just up, speaking of Edinboro, we were just up there in Erie, Pennsylvania. My hometown has just gotten absolutely crushed. I think 150-plus inches of snow this year. So, really grateful for the weather down here in Southwest Virginia this year as much as ever.
Yes, lake effect affects you so many different ways. Here we have 10,000 lakes, but we don't have lake effect quite like that. My in-laws up on the North Shore of Lake Superior, they get some of that. But, hey, I'm complaining about 6.5 inches. I think we've only gotten 18 total this year. So, yeah, if you want to go ice fishing, I think the jokes don't go with Minnesota. They might go to Edinboro. You can use that as a recruiting pitch. Hey, you can ice fish 13 months a year up here at Edinboro.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Now, circling back to the Virginia Duels, been a couple weeks since we last chatted, and the Hokies went 3-1, falling in the finals 21-15 to Arizona State in a matchup of top 10 teams. Just before we get into the finals, talk about the pool competition. Came out of the pool beating Campbell 40-0 and Old Dominion 28-9 for hitting the semifinals against Oklahoma 32-3. Let's start day one. Wins over Campbell, Old Dominion. Not a whole lot of things that really went wrong for the Hokies on that day.
Yeah, I thought we wrestled really well. Really in our first 3 dual meets, especially against Campbell, we were able, shutting out anybody in Division I wrestling is not easy to do. So to be able to get a shutout and win 10-10, thought our guys came out, wrestled with a lot of energy, and there was, whenever you're looking at these matchups as a coach, you never quite know how it's going to go and how it's going to play out. So it went about as well as it could have went against Campbell. We got some good wins. BC LaPrade had a nice win at 157 pounds. Andrew Dunn had a pretty good win at heavyweight against a ranked guy, so was pleased with the way we wrestled. Turned around, immediately following that match at 1:00 and wrestled Old Dominion, and again had a pretty strong performance overall. Kyle Nordstrom had a win against a ranked guy, which was good. Dennis Gustafson, I thought, wrestled really well in a match where he got taken down early and had to kind of fight and claw his way back into it. So. Was pleased with the effort against the Monarchs, and we did a good job then against Oklahoma the following day, and I think we only lost 1 match against the Sooners. So we had a lot of momentum going into the finals against Arizona State.
And with Arizona State, ended up being 20-15, came down to heavyweight, but there's definitely some matches there that you'd like to have back, but there's also some pretty good performances throughout the lineup overall. Even though it was a loss. What are your thoughts about the Arizona State matchup?
Well, I thought that we lost some close matches, and I thought we had a chance to win. I know we had a chance to win at 133. Thought we had a chance to win at 149 and a chance to win at 157, and lost all those matches, and they were all winnable matches for us. You look at 174, that's a tough draw right there with Valencia and Cody Hughes, and even Andrew Dunn at heavyweight against Tanner Hall, who's ranked in the top 4 or 5 in the country. But in some of those other matches, I felt like we left a little bit out there, and It wasn't so much an effort thing. I thought our guys went out and wrestled pretty hard. Credit to Arizona State. They took advantage of some opportunities, and in particular at 149, we weren't able to get off bottom, and I think that was the difference in the match. I think, if Ryan Blease could get off bottom and get his gas tank working for him and really get after Maruka from Arizona State and expose him a little bit on his feet, I think we had a good chance to win that one. And BC LaPrade was in on Josh Shields' legs, who's ranked 7th in the country, several times, and was only able to finish one takedown. And that's the difference between good and great, and being great and elite, is being able to win those positions, those opportunities, those situations in wrestling matches against quality opponents. So, we missed out on some opportunities, and the end result was the end result. We ended up losing, six matches to 4. So, it was not the way we wanted things to play out. Obviously, we went there to win that thing, and we've had a lot of success there in the past, and we were disappointed with a second place finish.
We look at some of the matches that you could have back. Dennis Gustafson, you said he had to scrap and claw back against Caleb Richardson. Then Ali Nazer, who's been hit or miss throughout his folk style career. He's got a pretty good freestyle resume, but coming out, he'll have a big win at 1 minute and then have an inexplicable loss the next, and it's an opponent that you feel like you can beat. What's Dennis got to do to get himself to where he's wrestling like he's an All-American contender? Because he's been very hit or miss this year.
Yeah, he has. I think Dennis is very much the same way. To me, the biggest thing with Dennis is being able to maintain his focus throughout the day when we're in events where we're going to wrestle multiple matches per day, and then also being able to maintain focus the entire 7 minutes of a match. And that's where sometimes he struggles a little bit, and that's something that we've been working with him on. And in addition to that, I think that we've got to get a little bit more offensive. He's done a really good job this year of slowing things down a little bit, not putting himself in positions where he's giving up stupid points or easy points. But on the flip side of that, we've got to find more opportunities to get to our opponent's legs, score takedowns, and just be really, really solid with our wrestling. I think he's lost a number of matches this year against really good guys that were tight matches, and it was just one or two little situations. There was maybe a situation where Dennis looked at the clock or he lost focus for seconds, and that's all it takes at this level. It's a game of inches when you're wrestling a guy that you're pretty evenly matched with. So, I told him on the bus after we left Pittsburgh he's so close to being a top 8 guy, but we've got to do everything right. We've got to make sure that our focus is where it needs to be, both in the wrestling room and outside the wrestling room, these last 51 days or whatever it is that we have left in the season.
Dual meet portions of the lineup bonus points are important. You've been getting a good bunch of bonus points from David McFadden, Zach Zavatsky, and Jared Hott. Talk about McFadden specifically. I mean, he blew the doors off of Anthony Valencia and DeWaylen Barnes, who's, for those who don't know, he was a junior college national champion before he transferred to Oklahoma. Actually had a win over Chance Marsteller when they were freshmen, when Marsteller was still at Oklahoma State. So, pretty good second day for David McFadden. But those three specifically, I mean, they really need to pick up the slack and pick up bonus when they can to put you guys in favorable position for dual meet wins. And how has David McFadden specifically done that?
I think at the Virginia Duels, David looked fantastic, was able to, and I think a lot of it had to do with the structure of the weigh-ins a little bit, to be quite honest with you. I think it was, 4 or 5 hour weigh-in, and he felt great when he stepped out there, and I think when he feels great when he steps on the mat, he can wrestle with anybody in the country. So he's got to do a good job with his discipline outside of the wrestling room, I think is probably the biggest thing with David at this point, and just making sure when we have 1 hour weigh-ins like we do again this Friday against Lehigh, that he's ready to go when he's feeling good, and he can wrestle 7 minutes. Because when he can wrestle 7 minutes, and I think we saw that against Arizona State especially, he's a dangerous guy. He's a very skilled wrestler. He's got a huge gas tank typically when he's feeling good, and he's got a lot of attacks. He can score a lot of points. So I think up and down the lineup, whenever we have an opportunity to score bonus points, whether it's Kyle Nordstrom or whether it's Jared Hott, we've got to take advantage of those opportunities. And like you mentioned, especially in dual meets, and even probably more so in a tournament format when we get to the ACC championships and we get to the NCAA championships, that extra 1 point that you get from a major decision, that extra 1.5 from a tech fall, and the extra 2 points that you get from a pin, that a lot of times can be the difference in finishing first at the ACCs and finishing second. And, it has a big impact on your finish at the NCAA tournament. It's really what's kind of separated Penn State in recent years from the crowd, is just their ability to go out and get pins and score bonus points. So I think as a program, it's something that we always try to talk about, and it's a philosophy that we embrace, and it's something that we need to continue to do when we have opportunities to do so. And we're fortunate this year that we have some guys that can do that. Zach Zavatsky, David McFadden, Jared Hott have all went out and put up bonus points in a lot of matches this year. So it's made the difference, especially made the difference at Edinburgh last weekend.
We'll get to Edinburgh and Pitt here in a moment, but finishing up and putting the cherry on top of the Virginia duels, even though not happy with the performance. Good fan turnout. The Hokies tend to show up pretty well for the competition in Hampton. So just a recap of the social over at Bar Louie. And I also got to throw this out there. I inadvertently or not or indirectly picked up a Hokie wrestling shirt for Wrestling Shirt a Day. So Dale Reed, if you're listening, yep, your hoodie, it's in my possession. I got it for you. I'll send it back once I wear it and throw it back out to the Wrestling Shirt a Day. So there is a Hokie hoodie in my house that will be making an appearance on social media before Dale gets it back. So in case he's wondering where it went, but Coach Roby, as far as the social and basically the whole Hokie Nation out there in Hampton, what was your response there?
It was great. I mean, we always get a great turnout out there, and the social was well attended, and we had some parents that the Ryan Bleese's parents actually came in from North Dakota, so it was great to see them, and we had some of our loyal fans there. But it was excellent. It was every time we're out there, there's a ton of Hokies in 757 that love to see us compete, and I know a lot of times when I'm speaking at different events, and there's just fans in general, maybe not diehard wrestling fans, but they're Hokie fans and Hokie club members, and they're alumni of the university. I know they in particular enjoy the Virginia duels because it's an opportunity for them to watch us compete, and their own stomping ground. So it's obviously something we want to continue to do. Hopefully we can get your alma mater ODU back on the schedule next year and get out there every other year for a dual meet with them as well.
And one thing about the Blees, I like that idea, but one thing about the Blees, if they'd have come 3 days earlier, it would have been just like North Dakota because there was plenty of snow on the ground in Hampton Roads.
Yeah, I think it was actually a 60 or 70 degree temperature swing for them going from North Dakota to Hampton one day. It was close to 60 out there. So I think they enjoyed it.
Oh, it was much more than that. I'll tell you what, it was about 100-degree swing for me because I looked down, it was 20 below or 90 degrees. It was like 20 below when I landed in Virginia, and I went back and I texted my wife, and she goes, "It's 20 below. Where's the snow? Where's the gas for the snowblower?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm driving. It's 70 here. I don't know where it is." So she was not amused. But speaking of back to that snowy realm, you're talking about the lake effect snows up in here. Heading to Pitt first for another ACC duel with Pitt. That one ended up 31-6. Brent Moore with a big win. Kyle Nordstrom with a win and sudden victory. But Keith Gavin rebuilding the program at his alma mater. This is one where. Do you got to worry about a match like this, knowing that you've got a team that's down heading into a really tough opponent like Edinburgh?
I think anytime you're not ready, it can catch you by surprise, and especially with our team being as young as we are. But I was really pleased. I didn't feel great about how we performed at Edinburgh on Friday at all, to be quite honest with you. And I thought that we left a lot on the table, and we were flat, and our intensity wasn't good, and for whatever reason. Our coaching staff or I didn't do a good job getting those guys ready to compete against Edinburgh. And I felt like at Pitt 2 days later that we did a nice job, and our guys just went out and they competed hard. They fought hard, and they went out and they were aggressive, and they went out there and, scrapped through some situations that were tough. Kyle Nordstrom, I give a lot of credit to in that match. He was awarded a couple back points, and then they took him away, and after watching it, it just seemed like a crazy call to me. But so he had some adversity, and he obviously, he's a freshman and he's having a up and down year like a lot of freshmen do, and he was able to kind of stay in there and fight through some tough positions and continue to wrestle the entire match, and secured a pin in overtime against a quality guy who's had a lot of success with LJ Bentley over the course of his career. So pleased with the effort at Pitt. Even Dennis Gustafson, who lost 4-1 to Dom Fories, again, was right in the thick of that thing. And when you watch the match, looking back at it, I felt like he had opportunities to win, and it's just a matter of some little things. But overall, felt really good about the effort against Pitt. And again, they obviously, they've got some transition going on, and they've got a young team as well. But our young guys really stepped up. Hunter Bolin had a tech fall. BC LaPrade wrestled really well. Brent Moore beat the number 15 ranked guy in the country in a gritty match where he didn't score a takedown, but he got an escape and was able to hold him down for 2 minutes and secure a riding time point. So it was good for our young guys to get out there and earn some tough-fought victories.
Now, as we circle back to two big duels coming up Friday, January 26th against Lehigh, which comes in the top 10. They dropped 2 spots in the rankings after coming off a loss to Cornell, where they didn't have Ryan Price or Scotty Parker in the lineup. And then you're hosting Duke, which is actually coming off a big win over Navy by criteria. So a couple good opponents coming into Cassell. Understand that there is a Southeast Regional Training Center member raffle coming up against Lehigh. Winner of that raffle, that drawing, will win Virginia Tech Notre Dame tickets for this football season. You have to be present, and you have to be a Southeast Regional Training Center member to do so. You can sign up at southeastrtc.com. So another innovative way to get fans in the door by offering something that Hokie Nation loves, and that's their football and football tickets. And with a fan base like Notre Dame that, as a visiting team, likes to gobble up all those tickets, you're making sure wrestling people are going to get those Hokie football tickets.
Yeah, and if for anybody who is a Southeast Regional Training Center member, they need to make sure that they sign up for the raffle. We'll have a table set up in the concourse on the west side of Cassell Coliseum like we always do, and they'll be able to fill out a little raffle form and have an opportunity to win 2 tickets to that game. That'll be a tough ticket to get anytime Notre Dame comes into town. So, we encourage everybody to come out and support the Hokies Friday night, whether they're a Southeast Regional Training Center member or not. And if you want an opportunity to win those tickets, you can join the Southeast Regional Training Center for as little as $100. Like you said, it's southeastrtc.com.
Yeah, and also this is a big weekend as it's Wrestling Alumni Weekend, and you're not doing it with just one duel. It's not like, hey, we're wrestling once. Hey, thanks for coming back. You've got a Friday, Saturday, doubleheader type of thing. What has it meant to bring in the Hokie alumni who a lot of times throughout the Cheney years and the building years through Moreland and then on to Coach Dresser and yourself, that a lot of them were part of teams that didn't see a whole lot of success, and now they get to share in the success of how the program is now a top 10, top 5 program year in, year out.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I've gotten to know a lot of these guys over the course of the last decade very well, so I think they've really taken a lot of pride in the progression of the program, and from where it was when they were here, and then even where it's come in the last 10 years. And obviously the resources have changed significantly over that period of time. But as you know, and we talk about this all the time, is people that are a part of the Hokie Nation, have a real true love and passion for the school. And I think our alumni wrestling fan base have those same feelings towards the wrestling program and the success that we've had, and the turnout that we have at a lot of the events that we do, and for a lot of our home matches. And then they travel to the NCAAs. I think we had over 400 people travel with us to the NCAA championships last year, and the ACC championships was very well attended. So, I just think that for them, it's, they feel like they're a big part of the success that we've had, and they truly are. I mean, a lot of those guys have paved the way for the success that we've had now. And it doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen, through the work of a small group of people. It takes everybody, and it takes the fans, and it takes the alumni and the parents and everybody to get involved and to continue to help this thing grow and move forward in a positive direction. So I'm excited to get some of our alums back and have an opportunity to spend some time with them and have them meet some of the new coaches, and it'll be a good weekend.
Coming into Lehigh, this is a team that even though it's ranked ninth in the country, they've had their share of injuries. Not exactly the 100% firing on all cylinders Lehigh that we saw when they just destroyed Michigan earlier this year, but still very formidable guys in the lineup. Of course, national champion Darian Cruz at 125. You got a Jordan Cutler who is just tearing people apart at 174. Got a really good heavyweight in Jordan Wood, and this is I wouldn't necessarily call it a rivalry yet, but there is definitely the growth of the upsets. We saw Cruz beat Dance last year that really kind of set Darian's progression to be a national champion well on its way, and there's some individual matches that are creating. This is a real Virginia Tech Lehigh thing. It's really starting to become a thing.
Yeah, hopefully we can keep it going too. I've got a ton of respect. Pat Santoro's, one of my better friends in the sport of wrestling, and is a first-class guy and does it the right way. And he's built something special there at Lehigh with where they're at. And I really think they're probably an underrated program. And if they're healthy and they've got all their guys in there, they've got a heck of a lineup. So hopefully we'll see the majority of their starters out there. I think there's a chance that Scotty Parker might be back in there at 33 and Ryan Preach back at 84. I guess we'll find out on Friday night, but they are listed in their probable lineup. So it's exciting. I mean, I just think that anytime you get an opportunity to see a guy like Darian Cruz, who's a national champion, and several other guys that are ranked as high as they are in the country are returning All-Americans, you're going to see some high-level wrestling Friday night in Cassell Coliseum, both from Lehigh and from Virginia Tech. So we've got our work cut out for us. I'm excited for the opportunity to compete against these guys, and it's going to be a good test. We've got some guys in our lineup like David McFadden and Zach Savatsky and Jared Hott that I feel like need to get tested here, and I think they will against Lehigh, and it'll be a good measuring stick for where they're at currently and where we need to get to by that first weekend in March for the ACC championship. So it should be a heck of a dual meet.
Yeah, Lehigh comes out strong too with, as mentioned, Cruz. And if Parker is in the lineup, that's obviously a plus for them. Nick Farrow has stepped in and done a fairly decent job at 33. And Luke Karam also had a pretty good season at 141. So that's one of those things right off the bat. You come out flat, you're going to fall behind big time early in a hole. And you don't want to do that in a dual meet.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about Lehigh is just, in part because of where they're located, they have tremendous depth within their program. So when they do have a starter out, they're able to replace them with a very formidable guy. Their backups are really, really strong in a lot of cases. In a lot of cases, there's not a big drop off between the starter and who may be behind them. So if you look at their lineup, they got Karam at 41, who was a standout prep star at Bethlehem Catholic in Pennsylvania in high school. Ian Brown at 157 will be I'm excited to see that match with him and BC LaPrade. And BC's, he's, like I said, getting better, and he's getting really, really close with some good guys. And I feel like he's, even some of the matches that he's losing, he's winning the fight. He's just got to figure out a couple positions, and I think it'll make a big difference in his results. And Cutler at 74, and possibly Preach at 184, and 97 the leader of Jacobson or Weiler, both very, very good guys, and then Jordan Wood at heavyweight. So if you look at their lineup, they're a pretty loaded team, and it's going to be good. We're going to be ready, and it'll be a good fight.
Now, I misspoke earlier when I talked about Trap Duel because I got my Edinburgh and Pittsburgh dates backwards. But in this case, we've got Lehigh heading into Duke. So, how hard is it to make sure you don't peak too much for Lehigh and come out flat against Duke, which is shown? They got 4 fine silvers in the lineup, which is one easy thing to scout. But otherwise, I mean, they came off. They got some guys that can score some points and knock off some people, and they got bonus point potential up and down that lineup. So, how do you keep the team focused with a back-to-back dual weigh-in like this?
I think it's, kind of part of the reason we set this up is just for that reason. So as this will be our last opportunity before the NCAA championships where we're going to have to weigh in 2 consecutive days and we're going to have to wrestle consecutive days. So for us, I mean, we have to approach it like that. Like, this is preparation for the NCAA tournament. And to me, the biggest thing is going to be discipline with our weight and making sure that, we have to make weight Friday at 6 o'clock. We have to turn around and weigh in again on Saturday at noon. So that's a pretty quick turnaround. Guys are going to have to refocus really, really fast. And the one thing I know about Duke and Coach Lanham, those guys wrestle hard, and they're going to scrap, and they're much, much improved from where they were a few years back. And I think they continue to grow and get better. And there's a reason they're popping out All-Americans pretty much every year. So, I think our guys understand that. I think they've seen and we've competed against them enough that they know that they better be ready to go, or they're going to come out and it's going to be a dogfight. So if we're not ready for that, we can't get on our heels. We've got to go out there and attack them, and we got to go take the W. And it's all about the mentality, and hopefully our guys are starting to understand that more and more.
Let's just take the wrestling thing out of the discussion here for a moment, as much as we can do that on a wrestling show, talking to a wrestling coach about wrestling dual meets. But Duke has the anomaly, and as far as I can tell, and research has shown, never happened before. I know that there's been 3 brothers in a lineup before, but Duke has 2 sets of twins. They're brothers. Josh finds. Let's see, where are they at? Josh, Mitch, Zach, and Matt Finesilver. And as a parent, how do you, when you come out, and what if you had 2 sets of twins and they're all boys? They're like, all right, I got 4/10 of a lineup set for college wrestling. This is kind of unique. Yeah,
it's good recruiting on Duke's part. You nail them. That's 40% of your lineup. So it's pretty good. It's pretty amazing that they all ended up at 4 different weight classes. But I didn't realize there's 2 sets of twins.
2 sets of twins in the same family. Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah.
They're all tough, scrappy guys. They're all tough guys. So like I said, I mean, that's good for Coach Lanham, man. He did his homework on that one, and that's a good. Anytime that you can get assign a kid that has a really good younger brother or younger brothers, I mean, that makes it all that much more attractive to you as a wrestling coach. Because typically, if they come in and you treat the kids right, and we've been pretty fortunate with that to get some sets of brothers here at Virginia Tech, it makes it a heck of a lot easier to get the younger ones.
I just want to know what the statistical probability is of having twins, like within the same. I mean, if you're like that one family in Arkansas that was on TV that has like 19 kids and there's like 3 sets of twins, that's one thing. But like, they're pretty close in age. This is kind of crazy. I'll have to look up the statistics on that. It's not like I care. I just think it's amusing. But as we move forward again, the Hokies hosting Alumni Weekend on the 26th, Lehigh, Cassell Coliseum. That one at 7 p.m. That one on ACC Network Extra. And then the 27th, the next day, as you heard Coach Roby say, with another win, 1 p.m., that also at Cassell. It's also Corps of Cadets Appreciation Day on Friday, First Responders and Safety Day on the 27th. So a lot of things going on. You got the drawing for, again, Virginia Tech Notre Dame football tickets. That'll be against Lehigh. If you're not a member of the Southeast Regional Training Center just yet, you can go to southeastrtc.com. And one plug on my end. So Hokie Nation, you guys have been fantastic to me in this show and the Matt Talk Podcast Network over the years, and I provide a fan guide, a Division I preview fan guide each and every year, and listeners of this show could use the offer code Hokie, you know how to spell it, to save yourself $5. Go to matttalkonline.com/fanguide18, and when you check out, use the offer code Hokie to save yourself $5. Tony Roby, that's a lot of stuff to throw out. We've got the Alumni Weekend, we got the raffle, you got my guide, you got the Corps Cadets and the First Responders. I mean, there's literally everybody and their mother has a tie to this weekend of wrestling in Blacksburg.
Yeah, it's exciting. One other thing that we didn't talk about is Coach Molinaro is wrestling in Siberia at the Urigan, which is widely regarded as perhaps the best tournament throughout the course of the year. And there's 16 or 17 Russians that'll be wrestling in his weight class. It's anybody who knows anything about international wrestling is familiar with this event, but he's competing there on Thursday. I will send out some information on how to watch that. I believe it's Thursday through our Virginia Tech Wrestling Insider list email. So if you're on that list, you'll be getting information about that, and you can watch Coach Molinaro compete against some of the elite wrestlers in the world. So I know he's excited about having an opportunity to get back on the mat. He hasn't competed since the trials last June, so he's been training really hard, and we're excited to watch him.
And in case you're wondering, that is in Krasnoyarsk, Russia. And as I quickly, those of you who follow me on social media know that I'm a weather nerd. It is 27 below currently. That's Fahrenheit in Krasnoyarsk. We get this, Tony. The forecast or the current weather conditions just says smoke. I don't know what the heck that means, but Krasnoyarsk, that makes you look like, say, you know what, Erie, living in Erie ain't so bad.
No doubt. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm sure. Hopefully we get some good wrestling. Yeah, hopefully it's hot on the wrestling mat.
Yeah, it's 27 below. Oh wait, you know what we call that here in Minnesota? Wednesday. Anyway, thanks for listening here, Hokie Nation. Another episode of Inside Virginia Tech Wrestling in the books. Again, this weekend, Wrestling Alumni Weekend, that drawing for Virginia Tech and Notre Dame football tickets. And check out everything you need to know at HokieSports.com. Hokie fans, listen to Inside Virginia Tech Wrestling anywhere you go by subscribing on Apple Podcasts. Go to InsideVirginiaTechWrestling.com/iTunes, or you can get the exclusive Android or iOS apps by going to InsideVirginiaTechWrestling.com.
Show is part of the Matt Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, head over to MattTalkOnline.com.